Hi, I'm Larry McAtee, Ward 3 City Councilman, and what a delight it is today to have one of our entrepreneurs from Ward 3, Miles Hall, with us. Miles, the founder and now president of H&H Gun Range.
It's good to be here. Thank you for having me, by the way.
Thank you for taking
I'm a big fan of your show, by the way, just for the record, so this is exciting.
Well, great. You were telling me before we got started the beginning of H&H Gun Range. How about sharing that with our viewers?
Well, my wife and I I met her on the only blind date I ever went on. Not many people know that, and we got married young. I mean, this is Oklahoma. I guess that's what sometimes you do. We did date for 3 years before that, and we got pregnant and decided we wanted to buy a home, and nobody would finance us because we were young and married, and at that point we were now pregnant. So we ended up buying a mobile home and moved out to this beautiful trailer park out by Lake Overholser. It was a retirement community. We had 150 babysitters at our beck and call, but we were the youngest couple in this park by decades. And it was a wonderful place to live. But when we moved out to there, because I was raised in the village, that's where I grew up at, my dad says, well, if you're going to live out in the sticks, and Lake Overholser, at least in his view anyway, was out in the sticks, he says, you need to have a gun for defense. And I said, I don't think I'm going to need that. It's a gated community that we were in, and I said, I just don't know that I want to do that. We got a baby on the way, and I wasn't being anti-gun at all. I just didn't think that was appropriate for us. First weekend, Larry, that we were out there, we understood why Lake Overholser had the colorful history that it did at those days, And so suddenly the idea of a gun didn't seem to be such a bad thought after all, So we got the gun, we went to go learn how to shoot, and the range that we visited, which was on the south side of Oklahoma City at that time, lacked a lot. But we enjoyed the shooting aspect of it a tremendous amount. Now, we didn't enjoy the idea of having to have a gun for self-defense. We were prepared to do that, but that wasn't what we enjoyed. We enjoyed the actual shooting portion. And then we found that maybe somebody should build a facility that would cater to people like Janie and I. We grew up here in Oklahoma City when Penn Square didn't have a roof, but we were what we would term mall brats. That's where we hung out, was either Penn Square or Crossroads Mall and eventually Quail Springs Mall, and decided that if we built a facility, we wanted to cater it to people that were kind of like us. And not that the other people were bad, that's not my point. It was just, they all seemed to be an older crowd, and we were certainly younger at the time and wanted to do something that addressed that. So we built a range, and we went off of 10th and Council. Our original location is where we were, and 10 lanes at 50 feet in depth, because they said you'll never want it bigger. These are the same people that said you only need 5 KB in your computer too. And after a few years of getting settled in, the guest base told us that they wanted more lanes and bigger lanes. So we moved to I-40 in Meridian, to a wonderful location. We actually face I-40. We took over a space that actually was held by Aaron Rentz. Aaron Rentz had that space when we went in. 15,000 feet was our original move when we made from 4,800 square feet of our original store to 15,000 square feet.
So we're going from 4,800 to 15,000.
Yeah. In fact, the entire building, Larry, would fit on the pistol range. Will Andrews, who works for me, figured that out one day. And I said, you have too much idle time on your head. To be able to do that. And then, of course, education was at the root of everything that we did. It's all about educating and training and being a part of that. We made the move into retail sales many years after that. In fact, it was 96 when we actually made the conscious decision to move into retail sales, and our guests are the one who forced us into it, because the people we were attracting to the sport, which was all new shooters, that, by the way, that was our goal, was to not go after any of the existing market that was out there, strictly to cater to new people, because I wanted the sport to grow. They told us what they wanted, and all we did was turn around and fill that. Today, we're 75,000 square feet of that building. The nice thing about that building, you can grow in little increments, and 55 shooting positions now, including handguns, rifles, air guns, which, by the way, was a big deal, and archery. And that's what we have today. And about 3,000 guns on display. We sell about 10,000 a year.
Now, you were sharing a very interesting thing when the Olympics got restarted.
Yep, in the late 1800s.
In the late 1800s. I don't think our viewers out there know the reason why the Olympics got restarted.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't know that. The reason the Olympics were reinstituted in the late 1800s was to hold a worldwide shooting contest. And it's why it was the first, and still to this day, why it's the first medal given, because that was the reason it was brought together. The running and the gymnastics and all the other things that have been done were almost afterthoughts. It was to hold a worldwide competitive shooting contest. And in other countries, their shooters are touted as much as we would our gymnasts and so forth here. And certainly not that the gymnasts are not important. I'm not saying that at all, because they're all dedicated athletes. But that's the reason the Olympics were reintroduced. It's pretty neat. It's a great tradition, a very long heritage. I mean, obviously, we're well over 100 years now in that.
So there's quite a bit of popularity from your guests in this shooting.
Yep.
And they also wanted the retail added to it.
Right.
And we talk a lot in Oklahoma City about making Oklahoma City a destination retail operation. Mm-hmm. Where do you draw your guests from? Just Oklahoma City?
Oh, Lord, no. We're from, first of all, we sold something to somebody in every single county in the state of Oklahoma, and that's 77 counties, and several of those are a decent drive. You know, but besides that, we actually pull in from Kansas and Texas, New Mexico, Colorado, and Arkansas, and Missouri. I mean, we actually pull every state that touches us. There are folks who come in because we have gained in such notoriety around the country that people want to come in. In fact, it's interesting. I was actually on a trip over in Europe, and somebody said, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Well, we're from Oklahoma." And believe it or not, they asked, "There's a gun range there in Oklahoma City. Do you know of them?" Had no clue that we owned it. Had no clue that I mean, it was absolutely fascinating. And of course, I loved it. You know, I mean, that feeds an ego bigger than anything.
So, I'm it.
You know, yeah, I said, yeah, and we had a chance to talk, which was very flattering. They had some great things to say. A lot of people, I don't think, realize how many internationals come to Oklahoma City. Enough so, Larry, that we had to do our range rules, the things you have to read before you go out on the range. We did our range rules into 9 other languages, so we could communicate effectively with the folks that are from Japan or from China or from Germany or from, I mean, we have 9 languages altogether. In fact, we're getting ready to add 3 more to that list just to make sure that we can communicate well. Because our universities draw a lot of people, and you get people who come and want to do something that's unique to America, and shooting is one of those. So they'll come in and shoot and just have a ball, you know, and walk out only with targets, because they obviously can't buy a gun, but we rent guns and that kind of thing. It's really exciting to watch them, because you just see them light up, you know. Because in those countries, the only people who typically own guns is the government, you know. So the idea of private citizens being able to shoot is a little foreign to some of these folks, and so they take hold of it with the same vigor that we do here in America.
Now, you have a festival every summer that draws people in.
Yeah, it's called the Expo, and we started this many, many years ago at the request of here again, of the guests who were interested in what the factories were doing. So what we did is we invite the factories in. It's actually not about selling products. It's really about introducing them to all the things that are going on inside the industry. We have now over 100 manufacturers who fly into Oklahoma City, set up, and for 3 days, the guests can come in and meet and greet and actually talk to the manufacturers of the various products, try them out. They get a chance to do that, and so forth. It wasn't about sales. It was really about kind of doing a mini SHOT Show, which is our market, Larry, here in Oklahoma City. And we did 6,000 people through the doors in 3 days this year.
And a good number of those people, again, came from outside.
Outside the country, outside the state, yeah.
Outside the state.
Certainly from all over the state. We have a wonderful hotel next door the Best Western Saddleback Inn, which, by the way, is owned by an Oklahoman. He actually lives here, and he does a wonderful, and we help fill the hotels up. You know, they'll use them, of course, and all the others in the I-40 and Meridian corridor. There's so many hotels there, and people come in just to be here for this event. It's pretty amazing.
Now, you have a goal besides getting people to be responsible shooters. You have a goal to kind of advance Oklahoma to the
oh
people.
Yeah, you know, it's fun. We've been very honored to receive recognitions and awards from all over, and a fair amount of these awards come from back east, and honestly, the opinion.
That'd be nice. I'm from back east, so it'd be nice to us.
I just got to tell you, but a lot of the folks back east who've never been to Oklahoma think that we're either blown up or blown away, and some of them would actually be amazed to find out we have indoor plumbing. You know, so when something comes along that's done as good as H&H has, I'm actually more proud of the fact that we're from Oklahoma than the fact that it was H&H. And I get a chance to talk a lot about what we do here in the state. Because a lot of people just don't realize how incredibly beautiful Oklahoma is. Still has the best sunrises and sunsets anywhere that I've been, anywhere in the world. This is still the best place for that. And when people come here, they find that out. But it's getting them here to experience that for the very first time as part of that, you know. So.
Now, people might be surprised, but Inc. magazine, which goes after entrepreneur operations, has recognized H&H a number of times.
Yeah, 6 times. We've been in what's called, they do a list of the fastest growing companies in the country, and we have made that list for every year they've had the list, 6 straight years, which is very cool, incredibly awesome. We're the only gun business in it. You know, up until last year, when Gunbroker, which is an online sale company, came along, they were only the second one to ever be a part of it. We've been a part of it all 6 years, which is just awesome. I mean, I have to admit, I love it. Got a chance to be interviewed and do some stuff with some folks with regards to that here again, and get a chance to talk about Oklahoma. I'm very proud of our state. I mean, we have a wonderful state. We chose to be here. I mean, I could have taken and done this anywhere in the country. We love Oklahoma. Have our family here. We all go to school here, raised our families here. Still get together every Sunday as a family, in fact.
Well, that's great. Now, one other thing, not only are you generating, bringing guests in for the other businesses around, but you're creating some employment opportunities for the folks right here in Oklahoma City.
Oh, yeah.
How many folks do you have working for you?
We have over 100 now that are full and part-time, if you combine everybody together. We also are very aggressive about hiring. By the way, it's about a 50-50 split between men and women, just for the record. But we also hire law enforcement, particularly those who are going into law enforcement for the first time, because they're not allowed to do those security jobs for the first couple of years. So we've always been real happy to get them in. And then, of course, military. And we're very blessed to have the military folks. They understand the unique heritage and the tradition of the shooting sports, and that it has to be communicated and it has to be taught. We're a mentored sport. I mean, you just don't decide I'm going to do this. Typically, it's got to be taught to you, and these are all great teachers. That's probably why they do so well in the military.
Now, you made a statement there that I think we need to just explore a little bit in further depth. You said 50-50 male and female.
Yep.
So half of your employees are ladies.
Yeah, it's 47-53 is the actual percentage number. Yeah.
So I would say that a lot of your guests are also ladies.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
first of all, H&H actually stands for hers and his, because my wife shoots better than me, and I'm a well-trained husband. But it was a philosophy, by the way, to not be a gentleman's only type of organization or a men only type of group. You know, the shooting world is a huge world. I mean, there's many millions of us that are out here that own guns, and every day that number is getting bigger. And so it was a focused effort on our part to hold no punches back and hold no prejudices at all. You know,
Miles, you need to get a little more excitement about this. Thank you for taking time out to come down and visit with our viewers. And I hope you've caught the passion of entrepreneurship that Miles has, and the desire to do something positive for not only his guests, but for his employees and for folks coming into Oklahoma City. May God bless you as you continue your efforts to move the shooting sport forward and to move H&H to even higher ranges. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you. It's been an honor.